Welcome to r/Entitled People, where we share stories from your lives about people who think the rules don't apply to them and they should get what they want. Thank you, friends, for subscribing to the channel and for so many likes. And today we have 3 great stories. The first story: very annoying Karen resented a small mistake of the restaurant staff. The second story: how to ruin a friendship. Do your job for free to a friend. The third story: the rude client wants to be explained to him that in the letter he did not even open. The first story is: friend scams me into 40+ hour restoration, invited himself to date, tries to cuddle with my girlfriend. Some background. Firstly, I'm a knife maker. It's not a profession, rather a hobby that I've gotten very good at. For a frame of reference, my pieces usually sell for a few $100s. Because I'm in high school, my schedule is hectic, so I find some time to make knives when I can, but sometimes I might not be able to do any work for a month or two. Secondly, I've known this person for about 10 years, but it's been a rocky friendship. The best way to describe him is the type of person that when you're at his house, it's my house, my rules. But when he comes to your place, it's I'm the guest, and you always do what the guest wants. Okay, so this started with my friend, EF, mentioning he had an old K-bar knife he wanted to give to me, to see what I'd do with it. I said I'd love to have a K-bar to restore, and went on to give him my ideas with what I would do with it. EF went on to say something like, "Well, I'm glad it'll be in good hands and have a nice new home." This convo went down in the last month of school during finals, so we both got busy and forgot about it for a while. Over the summer, my girlfriend and I have planned a movie day, just sitting together on a couch binging Lord of the Rings. I get a call from EF saying he was leaving town in an hour and wondered if I could come to pick up the knife. Seeing as he was giving me a K-bar, I said I'd be right over. Not wanting to be alone, my girlfriend comes along with me. When I get there, he starts talking about how it was his grandfather who found this knife and what he planned on using it for, and it became apparent he had no intention of actually giving me the knife, just to have me work on it. At this point, I'm a little annoyed, because he led me to believe he was giving it to me, but whatever, not that big of a deal. I still like the idea of working on this. The blade was bent, the grind was off, yada yada yada. It would take about 50 hours of work to get it back exactly how he wanted it done. I told EF about how many hours it would take, and asked him if he had a budget in mind, thinking I may have to talk him down from the quality of work he wanted. Perplexed, EF asks, "What do you mean, budget? I thought you would do this because you're my friend." I repeated that it was just a hobby, and reminded him hours of work would go into it, not to mention the cost of materials. EF then says, "It's alright, you can just do it for my birthday." I then bring up how I'd do it, but if I did, I'd expect something similar for my birthday. After this super awkward convo, back and forth, with my shy girlfriend standing next to me the entire time, EF then asks what we were going to do that day. We told EF that we had planned a movie day, for the 2 of us, and we were looking forward to heading back to my house to get started. EF immediately says, "Great, I can finish my work and be over there in an hour." We tell him again that it's a thing we plan to do with each other for a while now, since we had both been out of town for a week or so. EF then says something along the lines of, "I've been working really hard recently, and could use a nice movie day, so I'll just swing by." We politely try to tell him no, but he doesn't get the hints. My girlfriend and I leave and start the binding. We are both lounging on the couch, snuggles under some blankets with a beanbag that lives on the floor. An hour later, EF knocks on the door, and I reluctantly go to let him in. I grab something from the kitchen while he heads upstairs, and I come up to find him on the couch, with his arm around my girlfriend, who's looking extremely uncomfortable, but she's too shy to say anything. I immediately tell EF to get up. EF grins like we're just joking around. More forcefully, I say, "That's my couch, that's where I was sitting, get up right now." EF still grins like we're just fooling around. My girlfriend hops up and takes the beanbag. Not wanting to make this any worse, I just take her spot, and EF starts playing footsies with me. I tell EF to "Dude, seriously, F off," and shove him back pretty forcefully. He then thinks we're wrestling and puts me in a headlock. I'm by no means a small dude. I'm not super tall, but I'm dense, and my arms are my best built-up muscles, so they have some serious mass. I slap EF in the face from over my shoulder, and he lets go of me, but he's getting mad that I hit him. Before EF can say anything, I pushed him away from me, keeping my hand on his chest at arm's length. I tell EF that if he wants to stay and watch this movie, he needed to calm the F down and take the beanbag. The rest of the day is uneventful. I get to work on the knife, and EF wants update pictures every other day. Whatever, not the biggest deal. I get the knife done, and have put in about 47 hours of work and about $50 for materials. His birthday comes around, I give it to him, he loves it. At this point, we're in school, and my birthday is coming up in a few months. We get to talking about some possibilities for what he wants to get me. He shows me a custom knife done by a small French company and said he'd ordered it for me. It's a lower quality than what I make, and about a fifth of the cost of what the work I did for EF would have been if I had charged him, which would have been about $250, but that's okay. I had a lot of fun and learned some new things working on his knife, and the French one he ordered has some lovely design characteristics. All in all, I was okay with how it looked like things would turn out. My birthday comes around and EF brings me a small box. Inside are a $12 set of truffles from Walmart. I thanked him because it was a gift and I love chocolate, but inquired about the French knife. Ian then said that once he held it in his hands, he fell in love with it and couldn't think to give it to anyone else. I politely mentioned that we've agreed that the French knife would serve as a payment for the work and cost of completely restoring EF's knife. EF then gets mad and says, "You should really be more polite to your customers. You never know. I could have wanted to buy something else from you." This was the coup de grace. For many years, my friends and I had all dealt with EF's BS. We all agreed to completely cut ties with EF, not talk to him, not answer his calls or texts, not hang out, nothing. The second story is, Karen tries to use my mother to get free breakfast. Cast, Karen, nosy woman. KD, Karen's daughter. M, my mom. D, my dad. G, the manager. W, the waitress. Me and my parents like to go out to have breakfast every Sunday. Or that's what we did before COVID-19. And on that particular day, we were in one of our favorite restaurants, located in a mall, without suspecting what was going to happen. My mom ordered a club sandwich, and just before she took the first bite, she noticed something was out of place. Among the salad was a blue wire, the kind that's wrapped in plastic and used in bread bags to keep them closed. She quickly called our waitress and explained the situation in a very discreet way. The waitress apologized, took the plate away, offered to bring her a free courtesy dish, and said she would talk to the manager. Thinking back, maybe the word free was what made Karen notice us. Right next to our table was a woman, Karen, and her daughter, KD. When the waitress went away, Karen suddenly began to talk to us. Karen, that was awful. They should have been more careful. You could have choked if you'd eaten that. M, joking. Good thing I noticed before I started eating. Yes, maybe the cooking staff should have paid more attention while serving, but we weren't particularly angry about it. Mistakes happen and Sunday morning is always a busy time at that place, and as my mother said, no one got hurt, so we just let it slide. Karen, on the other hand, proceeded to complain as if the wire had been in their plate instead of my mom's. She told us about this time someone she knew found a nail in their plate at another restaurant and sued the place. Doubt it was true. I feel like she was trying to impress us. My parents were acting polite, just playing along, probably thinking Karen was just a concerned woman. I was silent for the most part of it, wishing she would just STFU, while I noticed that Karen's daughter was silent as well, and that she had this expression of absolute misery in her face. Now that I think about it, it was a signal that Karen usually displayed that behavior quite often. The manager finally came, and because of the fuss Karen was making, thought she was the one who had the problem and apologized to her. The waitress corrected him, and then he talked to my mother. Manager, we're very sorry. Please feel free to order whatever you want free of cost. M, I'd like to have another club sandwich, please. K, no, you should order something more expensive. They committed a mistake. You deserve it. KD quietly. Mom, please stop. M, getting mad at Karen. A club sandwich is fine, thanks. The waitress and the manager retired. We thought that was all, but we were wrong. Karen still complained about what had happened, and in a not-so-quiet or discreet manner, basically said that my mother was stupid for not taking an opportunity when provided. K, if it had been me, I would have sued this place for endangering my life. KD slightly raising her voice. Mom, please, just stop. That didn't even happen to you. Eventually, the waitress came back with my mom's sandwich, and at that point, my dad and I were angry and wanted to tell Karen to stop with her complaining and bad-mouthing. But my mom insisted we ignored her and tried to enjoy our breakfast the best we could. Karen and her daughter finished eating and finally went away. We sighed with relief, thought that this was over and would have some peace. But no, again, we were wrong. W to my father shyly. Excuse me, sir, could you please come with me? D, is there something wrong? W, we just need you to clear a misunderstanding. D, if this is because of my wife's incident, there's no problem from our part. We understand it was an accident, don't worry. W, looking extremely embarrassed. Yes, it's because of that there's this woman with the cashier claiming to be the missus, my mom's sister, and requesting a null bill for herself in your behalf. My dad practically stormed out. My mom asked me to follow him, and so I did, just in time to see Karen yelling at the cashier, a young woman, and the manager trying to calm the situation. Karen, my sister and I have agreed to sue this place because your irresponsibility nearly killed her. You put a piece of wire in her plate and still want me to pay for my meal? D, that's enough. You've been disrespectful to my wife and the ladies, the waitress and the cashier. You're the worst kind of person, and we are in no way related to you. Stop lying and pay your bill already. My dad is the kind of person who rarely gets angry, but when he does, he gets extremely serious, so I was really surprised to see him like that. I want to clarify that he isn't a violent person, but I had never seen him yelling at someone like that before. I also noticed that KD was crying right behind Karen, talking to her cell phone, and couldn't help to be sorry for her because honestly, she did nothing wrong, and her only fault was having Karen as a mother, something that she couldn't have chosen. Looking back, I wish I had approached to tell her I knew none of this was her fault, that I noticed she tried to calm her mother, and we didn't blame her for anything. Meanwhile, another waiter arrived with the mall's security. They made sure Karen paid her bill, then escorted her outside, with her poor daughter following from afar. The manager apologized again, and because of the incident with Karen, canceled our bill. Despite this, my parents and I agreed to leave half of our total bill as a tip because the staff was in no way responsible for our bad experience, and they suffered from it too. And the last story is, can you even speak German? So my older sister works for our national retirement insurance. She got married to her husband in 2018. Her husband's ancestors, like great-grandparents, were Hungarian refugees that came to Germany after World War II. Her husband still has that Hungarian family name, so now my sister has it too. This story took place shortly after she got married. Also, she works for customer service some days a month. This happened on one of those days. So my sister doesn't like telephone duty, since in her words, only the people who don't want to inform themselves call, with the most stupid questions. So this lady called her. She was one of her clients for a while now. Also, neither my sister's first name nor voice changed, obviously. The entitled lady, EL, had a question. Sis, hello, German retirement insurance, Sarah Sorba, fake name speaking. EL, hello? This is XY. Sis, good day, Mrs. XY. How can I help you? EL, I got a letter from you I don't understand. Sis, what does the letter say? EL, I don't know. I haven't opened it yet. I hoped you could tell me directly. Sis, well then open it, read it, and call again if you have questions. EL, but you have to help me. Sis, and I will once I know what the letter says and what exactly you need help with. EL starts swearing at Sis, ending with the words, why is someone like you even employed by our government? You probably couldn't even help me anyways. Are you even able to speak and understand German? Sis, I can't help you, ma'am. Please call again when you're ready to treat me like a human being. Have a nice day. She hung up. My sister is lucky, since she's a government-employed agent, which in Germany means you can't be fired, unless you commit a crime bad enough to give you a 1-year prison sentence. Otherwise, you can only be transferred to another job, so she's free to tell people, in a polite, professional manner, to go F themselves. I hope you love these stories. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to know when the new video comes out.